You are now watching The Meech.
I've recently been on a major SpongeBob kick. It was my favorite cartoon growing up, and I still look back upon the first 5 seasons fondly, mostly because of the first 100 episodes box set including everything from seasons 1 to 5, but it has been years since I last watched the show. 2019 SpongeBob's Birthday Blowout was the last new episode I saw. You could count Sponge on the Run, which is a third movie, but I prefer to forget about it. I've seen every episode from seasons 1 to 7, as well as most episodes of season 8 and 9, and I'm planning on watching seasons 10 through 13. From what I've heard, SpongeBob has bounced back up from its darkest era, but considering I like to revisit and make videos on bad games, I wanted to revisit some of the worst SpongeBob episodes. There are a lot of bad episodes, but there are the ones that are truly infamous. Season 5 is an interesting season. It had a lot of great episodes, and it's very experimental. It's the only season that regularly has 3-segment episodes with shorts, and many episodes felt very different compared to prior seasons, but with experimentation came the result of failure, and those failures resulted in some of the most notorious SpongeBob episodes of all time. The episode that always comes to mind first when bad SpongeBob episodes are mentioned is my personal least favorite episode as a kid. Considering season 6 and 7 aired when I was still in elementary school, I didn't exactly have critical thinking skills, which probably also explains my friend group back then. But there was one episode I always remember despising. To Love a Patty. I remember when they first aired To Love a Patty. Sweet, sweet To Love a Patty. I always hated it! You know, the episode where SpongeBob dates a Krabby Patty. The concept alone of SpongeBob dating a Krabby Patty raises many questions, and considering I've always had an animosity towards this episode, I wanted to revisit it before any other episode. I've made jokes about it on the channel, we even live streamed To Love a Patty and reacted to it, and there's even the classic Paper Mario To Love a Patty. But I wanted to go back to this episode with an analytical and mature approach, a sophisticated peer-reviewed look at an animated work that showcases the relationship between a sea sponge and a sandwich. If that sounds ridiculous, it's because it is, so let's have some fun with it. To Love a Patty is particularly infamous for its premise alone, but could they have maybe pulled it off and I didn't even realize it? The question is To Love a Patty as bad as everyone says it is, or is it just misunderstood? To Love a Patty starts off like a typical SpongeBob episode. SpongeBob is working at the Krusty Krab making Krabby Patties in a very SpongeBob way. He sings a goofy song while preparing the Krabby Patties as if he were in a rock band. And it turns out that particular batch of Krabby Patties is the best SpongeBob has ever made. But one patty in particular is so perfect, SpongeBob can't help but admire his work. It's understandable SpongeBob would admire and be impressed he was able to make the perfect patty. If I was able to make the perfect burger, I would probably set it aside and eat it for myself, then make another one to give to the customers. But considering this is SpongeBob, of course something weird is bound to happen. SpongeBob protecting the patty and not wanting it to be eaten is actually not much out of his character. We've seen him not wanting Krabby Patties to go to waste, and he's even gone to the extent of giving a patty a proper burial. If this episode was about SpongeBob wanting to protect this particular patty, I think it could be okay. Actually, as a season 5 short, it could work even better. The plot could have been SpongeBob wanting to protect the perfect patty, but facing the dilemma of running low on ingredients, so he'd have to make Krabby Patties using different ingredients, trying to replicate the original recipe in a weird sort of comedic way. We did kind of see that with the grilled shoe patty gag, but the plot they went with left me at a loss for words. SpongeBob not only literally falls in love with the Krabby Patty, but he treats this patty as he would a girlfriend. He goes on dates with it, ignores his friends to simp for this patty, and most shockingly of all, sings a full-on song proposing his love to this Krabby Patty. Now we're not talking a short song like at the beginning of the episode, a full-on musical number.
Oh baby, I love you so strong, that's why I'm singing this song. Your looks are sweeter than honey, from your pickles to your buns, it ain't even funny. Don't worry, Patty. I'll take care of this. There you go. All better. Oh, baby.
Not only does he ignore his friends and propose his deep love to the patty, but he actually commits crimes to protect this patty. There's a scene where clams try to eat SpongeBob's perfectly edible patty girlfriend, and not only does he kick them out of the way, but he flat out kills them, ripping one in half. Clams are the SpongeBob equivalent of birds. Imagine an insane guy in our world doing this to seagulls after they tried to eat a Big Mac that he fell in love with. Actually, never mind, that'd be okay because seagulls are evil. What if it were ducks? That's the question. Season 5 is also when SpongeBob decided to get gross. You'd have a few grossly detailed close-up shots before, but only for a quick gag. But this season in particular took things much further. And I'm not just talking about the messed up relationship between SpongeBob and the patty. As the episode continues, the patty becomes increasingly disgusting and stinky, and you get to see it happen in real time. By the end of the episode, the patty looks even nastier than the nasty patty, and not only do we get one, but multiple close-up shots. That's great, isn't it? So pleasant to look at. This episode consists of SpongeBob being a jerk to his friends, going on dates with a sandwich, murdering clams, and eventually going on a final date with the patty to the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krabs is so off-put by it, he initially refuses to take SpongeBob's offer of $5 for the manager's treatment.
And we're on a special date tonight, so you don't mind if we get the manager's treatment, do you?
Sorry, boy, no can do.
Oh, really? Mr. Fiver says different.
What was that? I couldn't hear you.
How about now?
All right, take a seat.
Grazie.
Mr. Krabs is the same guy who sold SpongeBob's soul for 62 cents. It is so weird and off-putting for him that even $5 wasn't enough. That says a lot. Our story ends with Mr. Krabs telling SpongeBob the wonderful moral that Krabby Patties are meant to be eaten, not dated. And then, SpongeBob eats what is now a beyond rotten Krabby Patty.
Well done, boy. And as a reward for your valiant effort, I'll only charge you 25 cents for the patty. Employee discount.
Can I get a doggy bag with that?
From a story standpoint, to love a patty is absolutely absurd. Even for a SpongeBob episode, just describing the plot alone probably leaves you with not only a what the but also, wow, that sounds like a horrible episode. Sometimes a plot can be stupid or downright bad, but if the comedy or characters are still there, an episode can still be good. All the characters act in character. It was Squidward's sarcastic comment about SpongeBob dating a Krabby Patty that inspired him to do it.
What are you gonna do with it? Take it home? Put a little dress on it? Go out for a romantic walk with it?
What idea?
I wonder if it's too late to get a refund from my therapist.
Mr. Krabs also acts as a sort of father figure to SpongeBob, congratulating him on getting a girlfriend. That is before finding out who the girlfriend actually was. Even Patrick is in character, missing SpongeBob after he leaves, similar to that of Nature Pants. However, it's our protagonist SpongeBob Patty Lover Pants that's completely out of it. A character being out of character isn't a problem. Remember in Can You Spare a Dime when SpongeBob eventually got fed up with Squidward being a freeloader and taking advantage of him? That was the best part of the episode, because not only was it funny, but SpongeBob's anger was built up through the episode. He started off by wanting to help Squidward, but completely lost it when he couldn't handle Squidward taking advantage of him. Whereas in an episode like Waiting, there's no build-up, and SpongeBob randomly becomes a jerk. And it's not fun to watch. SpongeBob is a jerk into love of Patty, but that isn't the main character derailment. The derailment stems from SpongeBob acting romantic. Here's the thing, although it's assumed SpongeBob has no interest in dating or relationships, that isn't 100% the case. In the first 3 seasons, take a look at the SpongeBob and Sandy episodes. In Tea at the Tree Dome, SpongeBob is willing to risk drying up to look cool and impress Sandy. Rip Pants is another episode where he tries to impress Sandy. Even going into season 2, SpongeBob is willing to participate in Sandy's dangerous activities in pre-hibernation week to gain her approval. The key difference is that in those SpongeBob and Sandy episodes, it's up to interpretation. You can see it as just a friend trying to impress their friend, or you can see it as a guy trying to impress a girl. As I've gotten older, I definitely can confirm guys will often do things out of their comfort zone to get the approval of a girl. Now, I'm not gonna lose air for Billy, but Irene? Just maybe. And those episodes definitely had some romantic implications, but if you were to say otherwise, I could easily see your point. That is unlike To Love a Patty, which has no ambiguity whatsoever. It's clear as day what SpongeBob's intentions are. He clearly falls in love with the patty in a non-subtle way, and seeing SpongeBob's character this way just feels incredibly off. I guarantee you if the episode went on before the final date at the Krusty Krab, we'd have Patrick saying, "Is mayonnaise a lubricant?" It's not just because it's a Krabby Patty. If he acted this way with Sandy, it would still feel out of his character. SpongeBob can do romantic plots, but it only works well with other characters. Having Mr. Krabs conflicted between his love of money and Mrs. Puff fit him incredibly well, showcasing that even though he loves money, he has the exact same weakness that most guys have. And Krusty Love was a great episode, and even Patrick's thing for mermaids is pretty clever and suits him quite well. But for SpongeBob, it just doesn't. But maybe if the episode's funny, it might be slightly redeemed. I gotta be honest, To Love a Patty did have some genuinely funny moments. I don't know why, but when SpongeBob says, "I love crepes," while having the inanimate patty cook, got a cheap laugh out of me.
Oh, are you kidding? I love crepes.
And some of the gags like the grilled shoe and everyone saying SpongeBob's lost it is kind of funny. But in terms of jokes and wit, To Love a Patty doesn't have much. In terms of looking at the episode critically, To Love a Patty is absolutely awful. But after rewatching it, there was something that genuinely surprised me. There are a ton of problems with To Love a Patty, but problems the episode does not suffer from are being boring or being incredibly annoying. Rewatching the episode, I was actually quite entertained. The only part that genuinely made me feel uncomfortable was when SpongeBob murdered the clams, not only because it could have been Junior, but it's just not funny and it's only uncomfortable. But everything else, this is the prime example of an episode that's so unbelievably stupid and such a bad idea that it's funny. Yes, it's horrible, but you're gonna want to see it just to see how bad it is, and even though the song drags on a bit, it's kinda catchy and it's frankly hilarious. SpongeBob professing his love to a sandwich through a love song. Since I had the DVD in, I watched a few other episodes from Season 5 in addition to Love a Patty, and honestly, I could at least laugh with To Love a Patty and be slightly amused, whereas an episode like Waiting, I was just annoyed, bored, and frankly frustrated. Is To Love a Patty one of the worst SpongeBob episodes? Conceptually, yeah, it's pretty bad, but from a viewing perspective, it still manages to be entertaining. It's definitely a case of so bad that it's funny. Definitely not one of the worst episodes from a viewing perspective, but it's only good in an ironic way. If you want a truly good Season 5 episode, there are so many options to choose from. Check out Friend or Foe, or The Krusty Sponge, The Krusty Plate, Krabs a la Mode, SpongeBob vs. the Patty Gadget. There are a lot of great episodes from that season, and even though this episode is absolutely absurd, it didn't make the season as a whole unenjoyable. But if you want a good SpongeBob episode with a romance plot, Krusty Love is absolutely the way to go. Or even Single Cell Anniversary, which is pretty decent. So there you have it. Here's my review of To Love a Patty. I'm considering covering more SpongeBob episodes, so if you have any requests, let me know. Anyways, thanks for watching, and keep calm and da-don.